Hello everyone and welcome back to Versus, the show that takes beautiful works of art, tosses them into an arena, and challenges one to emerge victorious by any means necessary, including a leg sweep. I don't think either of our hit streaming shows featured today will have a problem duking it out for glory. They've seen everything from scary paranormal creatures to intimidating martial arts masters, and through it all, they've allowed us viewers to nibble on the nectar of nostalgia. It's Cobra Kai taking on Stranger Things right now on Versus. In one corner, you have Cobra Kai and its sunny Southern California setting that sees old favorites from the Karate Kid franchise usher in a new generation of underdogs hoping to overcome obstacles like ruthless bullies, the passage of time, and eccentric family members.
Very nice way to talk to your mother-in-law.
Yeah, Ma, she didn't mean it that way.
No,
I meant it that way.
In the other corner, it's the residents of Hawkins, Indiana, featured in Stranger Things, particularly a group of young underdogs hoping to overcome obstacles like ruthless netherworld bullies, wacky scientists, and eccentric family members. One show reminds us how much fun we used to have in the 80s. The other takes that 80s fun and Pontiac Firebirds its way into modern times.
Pontiac? Firebird.
Only one will be crowned the best around. Here's how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, Tomatometer/audience score. Round 2, characters. Round 3, iconic moments. Round 4, Dodgeball. And then we'll do a wildcard round that could involve anything from which show has the more concerned mom, the more roguish father figure, or the most nosebleeds. That actually would be a really good battle. Both shows have now found a home on Netflix, although they took wildly different paths to get there. So get on your karate gi, make sure the walkie-talkie has fresh batteries, and let's prepare to duke it out against Demogorgons, Valley ne'er-do-wells, and I guess, normal high school stuff. We're still trying to get into college here, right? That's the goal.
Thanks for sharing. Didn't know.
It's Cobra Kai taking on Stranger Things, with both shows on the precipice of exciting new seasons. Fire up some Eggo waffles and face kicks are legal here. Let's get it on. Round 1, Tomatometer/audience score. Right off the bat, we head into the round. It's determined by what the critics had to say about your show on the Tomatometer, and also what you, the verified audience, felt about each season, and depending on how you look at it, either show could have a strong advantage in terms of output. Cobra Kai is about to launch its 5th season later this year, meanwhile Stranger Things is season 4. So will that extra year of ratings help or hurt the martial arts folk from the San Fernando Valley? The 4th season of a given show usually isn't the highest rated, such as with The Sopranos or Breaking Bad, and sometimes we never even get a 4th season, as was the case with Alf. The dude went off to become a monk and we never heard from him again.
Interesting concept.
Both Cobra Kai and Stranger Things kicked their runs off in style and with great grades. Cobra Kai Season 1 is a perfect 100% on the Tomatometer, while Stranger Things landed at 97%. Things evened out after Season 2, which saw Cobra Kai fall to 90% and Stranger Things hold on to a 94%. But then, Season 3 happened and Stranger Things dropped into the 80s. Not the decade that it loves so much, but the percentile on the Tomatometer. Season 3 is the Hawkins crew lowest rating thus far at 89%, while Cobra Kai maintained its discipline by notching 90% again. And now we get to that all-important 4th season. Trailers and rumors on the information superhighway suggest that Season 4 of Stranger Things could be its biggest and boldest yet, but Cobra Kai has already had its quadriceptual season. That's not a word. It's not a word.
I don't know what that is, but get off it pronto.
And it landed like a crane kick to the nose, earning a 95% on the Tomatometer. Before we get into the averages to see who's making it out of this round with the first point of the match, kind of feels like we're in the All Valley Karate Tournament. Let's take a look at the Netflix ratings for each series. Fun fact, Netflix rarely, if ever, releases their numbers and keeps them guarded in a vault next to the actual Ark of the Covenant. But I snuck into their holding facility and managed to extract some sensitive data before I got caught, or I believe what's being reported on the internet.
Abort! Abort!
According to The Flicks, Stranger Things Season 3 was watched for a whopping 562 million hours in its first month of release. Cobra Kai counters by having its Season 4 witnessed to the tune of 120 million hours within its first 3 days. And if you think those are gaudy numbers, they're both looking up at Squid Game, which reportedly hit, everybody sitting down for this, 1.65 billion hours after its first 28 days. And I think I waited until like day 30 to watch it, so that's, more total hours. Remember when Netflix used to send us DVDs? Hey honey, get the mail. Maybe How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is in there.
Nobody likes a Mr. Sniffles.
I hate Mr. Sniffles.
All right, enough preamble. Let's finish this round off and see who gets the early lead. Stranger Things has an overall average of 93% on the Tomatometer. You know what else does? Alf.
He's quick. I'll give him that.
No, I'm kidding. He doesn't have a rating. But Cobra Kai is also 93% across all seasons on the Tomatometer. It's a tie, which means we go to sudden death.
Let's go.
No coin flip determines possession here. We're just going to look at the audience score. According to you, the people, Stranger Things has an overall average of 91% on this metric. And now for the win, Cobra Kai has a 92% on the audience score. Wow, that's a huge win, especially considering that the highest rated Karate Kid movie on the Tomatometer is the OG at 89%. Meanwhile, the Karate Kid Part 3, you know, the one with all the bonsai stuff, 13% rotten. Yikes.
Somebody's talking about shithead.
Did I just ruin the party for everyone? I'm so sorry, but Cobra Kai does get the win in round 1 by the slimmest of margins and goes up 1-0.
No mercy.
Round 2, characters. Cobra Kai keeps on kicking ass and now sports an early lead, but you can never count out a ragtag group of bike aficionados from the Midwest, especially ones that specialize in epic Dungeons and Dragons quests.
The Demogorgon! We're in deep
Now we'll take a look at the best characters from each show and see how they stack up against one another. Stranger Things sports a scrappy group of kids, but Cobra Kai features the return of some of our favorite big screen heroes and villains from when we, ourselves, were kids. Johnny Lawrence has owned a special part of the zeitgeist ever since the bully role inhabited by William Zabka in 1984's The Karate Kid hit theaters. And ever since, debate has raged over whether he was actually the bad guy in that film or if he was just the victim of an opportunistic Daniel-son and a very skewed storytelling angle. In fact, it's the prism of Johnny's perspective that inspired creators John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg, and Josh Heel to come up with Cobra Kai. When we meet Lawrence and LaRusso in the show, their life paths couldn't have been more divergent. Daniel is a successful Southland car dealer, Johnny struggling to get by. This dynamic lends sympathy to Lawrence regardless of how you saw the events of the Karate Kid play out, and it adds a healthy dose of funhouse mirror memories when we see the two interact as adults. Cobra Kai also taps the film franchise well to bring back legendary baddies like John Kreese, and even Daniel's original sweetheart, America's favorite babysitter, Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, thank you.
But whereas Cobra Kai was able to spring a new well from older source material, Stranger Things took us back to the 1980s with a fresh set of folks so familiar that we felt like we've already known them. And it's the kids leading the charge. Eleven and Mike, played by Millie Bobby Brown and Finn Wolfhard, prove that these young actors are more than just super fun names to say out loud. They're endearing protagonists from vastly different worlds that team up to fight creatures from another dimension and go through puberty.
Mike! I found the chocolate bunny!
So the degree of difficulty between these two shows, I'd say it's about even. They're flanked by Dustin and Lucas, who round out the D&D loving buddies searching for their fellow friend, Will Byers in season 1. The adults are more than just monotone Peanuts teachers in Stranger Things, though sometimes the kids would be better off to ignore their elders, as it turns out. David Harbour as Sheriff Hopper is note perfect as a gruff, small-town law enforcement type who turns out to have his own tragic past, a biting wit, and a killer dad bod. Seriously, I don't know how or why everyone suddenly nominated Hopper as a sex symbol, but as a guy who works out occasionally in his garage, I will happily co-sign that sentiment.
No, stop. It's all you. I'm a puppet. You're the master.
Winona Ryder is also appropriately over the top as Will's mom who loses her son and then her mind trying to get him back. What's great about Cobra Kai is that they simply don't rely on our memories to get by. They create a new generation of karate kids from scratch. Miguel, Robbie, Hawk, Samantha, just to name a few, and Samantha's daddy, yeah, that's Daniel's son, and they all carve out unique identities, keeping us invested in the show alongside their counterparts from a previous generation. And while Cobra Kai has always walked the line away from just being a spoof, there's plenty of comedy to be had, particularly thanks to Daniel's employees at the car dealership.
Wait, is this the karate guy? The guy from the tournament?
Oh, this is the guy whose ass you kicked.
Dana Dutte plays the reliable Anush, and Brett Ernst is Louie, Daniel's ne'er-do-well cousin, and they shine by giving us laugh-out-loud moments to go with the engaging storylines. But Cobra Kai is still predicated on the folks we brought back for another shot at telling SoCal martial arts tales. Stranger Things, though it borrowed heavily from inspirations ranging from Stephen King to Ghostbusters, blessed our Netflix accounts with wholly original characters. Our gaggle of kids, their adult foils, and maybe what elevates it from other shows is everyone else. Who could forget Steve? Or Billy, frickin' Barb for goodness sakes? Toss in some veterans like Matthew Modine and Paul Reiser, and you have yourself the primary reason why Stranger Things keeps sucking hours out of our eyeballs. The cast makes this stuff believable. And unlike Cobra Kai, we're meeting these Hawkins denizens all for the very first time, making for a most impressive accomplishment. Stranger Things wins round 2, and we're tied at 1 apiece.
Go! Yeah, that's right! You better run!
Round 3, iconic moments. Sure, we love the cast and the stories and the ooey gooey nostalgia, but what really gets us to continually binge these two programs is the memorable scenes and incredible sequences that shock, awe, and inspire us. For Stranger Things, having the Netflix boost right out of the gate allowed the showrunners some coin to dream up some truly terrifying special effects-laden instances that we're still reeling from, most of which feature the otherworldly abilities of Eleven.
Me?
To witness the evolution of her role is both a credit to Millie Bobby Brown's performance and the frightening situations in which she's thrust into. In season 1, she flips a van. Season 2 sees her close the gate, and in the next season, she removes a parasite from her leg. All moments that last with us, and evidence that she deserves a waffle party just as much as anyone from Severance. By the way, have y'all seen Severance?
Look at you, all dewy-mouthed. You never smile at me.
It's also fun to watch the chemistry between Eleven and her adoptive father figure Hopper. He's such a typical dad, even when the scenario is anything but ordinary, like when they're hiding out from everything in a remote forest, or when Eleven and Mike experience all those things that teenagers feel together while trying to more or less, save the world.
Uh-oh. I think we're in trouble.
They always tell you that high school might be the best 4 to 6 years of your life, and it almost never is. But how are any of these young folks gonna follow up what they did when they were teenagers? They've earned the right to wear their varsity jackets forevermore, and also I don't think they should have to pay taxes. Just my 2 cents.
You've outdone yourself.
Cobra Kai scores big points in multiple ways. Its own new crop of school kids do a tremendous job of keeping us invested in their storylines to balance out their parents' generation, even if it is a familiar setting. The All-Valley Tournament, which in this show makes March Madness look like a local spelling bee, is its own character and has given us momentous showdowns such as Miguel versus Robbie at the end of season 1, and in season 4, we got highlights like Robbie versus Eli and Sam versus Tori. But at its core, the Karate Kid was always about overcoming bullies, not just at karate tournaments, but anywhere in Studio City. At school, like the massive brawl in season 2, or when Miguel takes on a flock of sad sacks in season 1. But, sap that I am, I still love a good Johnny redemption story, and while he has trouble getting out of his own way most of the time, the first instance that he defends Miguel from a group of neighborhood ruffians early in season 1 still stands tall. I also love the complexity of Johnny and Daniel's modern relationship. The twists and turns are unexpected and always welcome. Who would have thought we'd ever see them train together in the same dojo, aiming to take down John Kreese? This show's so fun.
Man, those are good times.
But enjoyable romp though it may be, Cobra Kai simply can't keep pace with Stranger Things when it comes to stakes. I give all the props to the All-Valley Tournament, but in Indiana, we're talking about the fate of the universe as we know it. So every time we get an emotional heartstring tug, like watching Will and his mom communicate via Christmas lights, or Bob making the ultimate sacrifice, it sticks to our ribs. And the epic action of Mike heading off a cliff only to be rescued by Eleven, and the general look and feel of the Upside Down, it's all too much for another show to conquer. Plus, we get to see 1980s 7-Eleven, when that store was peak everything. It's good now, try the taquitos, but how great did that vintage Pepsi can look? Stranger Things takes round 3 and suddenly has a 2-1 lead over Cobra Kai.
Terrific.
Round 4, Dodgeball. All right, I might have set some false expectations for this next round when I announced it. Unfortunately, none of either set of kid casts responded to my repeated invites to play Dodgeball on behalf of their respective shows, but that's not why this round is called Dodgeball. You see, there's a movie called Dodgeball, and it's 71% fresh in the Tomatometer, and its subtitle is A True Underdog Story. Hence what this round is all about. Who's the bigger underdog? Who overcame the tougher set of odds and obstacles to achieve success? This can be interpreted 2 ways. The events depicted in the show, or the goings-on behind the scenes that got these programs the green light to say hi to the world, become monstrous hits, and wind up with the ultimate honor being judged by me on Versus, the preferred artistic combat show since 2018.
Seriously?
In terms of what we see on screen, it would appear that Stranger Things has the advantage simply because of what your astute host noted in the previous round. We're saving a planet here. Technically just a town, but soon the state, the continent, things could have gotten really bad really quick. Meanwhile, Cobra Kai also tells the story of underdogs, much in the same vein as its grandpappy, the Karate Kid. That seminal film was directed by John D. Avildsen, who also did Rocky. It's a story about rising up to fulfill your destiny, even as those around you doubt your abilities to do so. And while the All-Valley Tournament is a crucial milestone of success, Just ask Johnny Lawrence.
Hell, man.
Of much more import is seeing a school kid who gets picked on conquering his demons and putting bullies in their place. It may not be saving a planet, but it's determining a path to future success to one's own life, which is no small feat. Plus, Stranger Things has an ace in the hole, the supernatural abilities of Eleven. If this was just Mike, Lucas, and Dustin looking for Will in season 1, we're probably screwed. And we wouldn't have even had a Starcourt Mall to hang out at by season 3, because everything in Hawkins would have been decimated by dark forces. But Eleven, being able to match wits with a Demogorgon evens the playing field. We've lost lots of favorites to the Upside Down over the years, but as long as Eleven is in the ballgame, we got a fighting shot. However, when pitching the show Stranger Things to networks, creators the Duffer Brothers didn't have any precocious youngster with a bloody nose to help curry favor. Before it landed at Netflix, their concept had been rejected by over a dozen outlets.
You are 046, Popeye.
No one seemed interested in footing the bill for a project that had plenty of 80s memories, but no established IP of its own off of which to grow a mythology. Cobra Kai had the luxury of a beloved brand with the Karate Kid, but that also presented another challenge to Hurwitz, Schlossberg, and Heald when attempting to find a home for their beloved pitch. Would the cast of a 1984 film be interested in re-inhabiting these characters? Do they even care anymore? Legacies were at stake, and if Cobra Kai was a miss, it might have spelled the end for Karate Kid fans. The once mighty mythology exiting with a mere whimper. Also, they had to find a studio willing to make this risk of a memory lane stroll. While Netflix was already an established streaming giant by the time Stranger Things rolled around, YouTube was just hatching from the egg in terms of original content. And as it turns out, YouTube originals and Cobra Kai's fates were intertwined, and word of mouth began to spread slowly but surely. As for Stranger Things, that word of mouth is more accurately described as a social media wildfire blazing a path to glory on its debut weekend. It seemed like the show came out of nowhere, yet everyone was intrigued by this concept, and it quickly became a race to see who could finish season 1 first so we wouldn't get spoiled by our friends. Quite an uphill climb, but once Stranger Things debuted, its half-life would never be in doubt again. That wasn't the case for Cobra Kai. Despite rave reviews from critics and a positive fan response, YouTube had decided to go in a different creative correction, leaving Kai without a parachute until Netflix ponied up. And even now, as we look at these two shows that are about fulfilling potential and overcoming extreme odds, Stranger Things feels like the establishment and Cobra Kai the young upstart, even though they're both fond of the exact same time period. Stranger Things has huge effects, set pieces, and budgets that can take anything on the page and make it feel real. Although it's entering its 5th season, Cobra Kai still feels lucky to be here. Maybe it's us, the audience, that are the fortunate ones. Through years of dormancy, a flighty YouTube project, and now a beloved Netflix hit, Cobra Kai continues to maintain its initial charm, the ultimate underdog story. It was a bold move, Cotton, and the average Joes would be proud. Cobra Kai takes the point in round 4, and we're back tied 2-2.
Word, Cotton.
And now it's time for the wildcard round. Don't make me do this. Yes, I am referring to the impending decision that I will have to make in order to settle the score between two beloved shows once and for all, or at least until we see their next seasons. But when Mark Ellis is backed into a corner and is well aware that no matter what he decides, he will be met with intense scrutiny, I pawn as much of that responsibility on to the fans. Yeah, I did some fan polls on my social media account at Mark Ellis Live, asking the simple question to my loyal followers: which show do you like better, Cobra Kai or Stranger Things?
Good luck.
This was especially daunting for me because I was just recovering from having one of my accounts hacked the week before. Was it a mythological creature from the Upside Down? Or maybe Terry Silver? The bottom line is, I'm never selling PlayStation 5s for $50. Ever. I play Nintendo Wii. Funny enough, one fan, the Movie Dimension, actually replied to my poll with a South Park gif that said, "Don't make me do this." Fans. They write the whole show while I sip lemonade in a hammock. Unfortunately, even when I rely on my gutsy fans to bail me out, sometimes even they can't find a true consensus. Dominic Gonzalez says, while Cobra Kai brings heightened suspense and drama, there's just something about the mystery of Stranger Things that keeps me on edge, and I love it. Dominic's take was countered by an old ally, former producer of this very show, Alex Pastrana. Now he has a cool podcast y'all should check out, and he voted on the side of Cobra Kai.
How?
So where do I turn next? Well, the shows are based on our fondness for memories past, so how's about I look back as to how I found these programs? Like everyone else, I binged Stranger Things on its debut weekend. I had no recollection of ever hearing about this concept, and I can't even recall seeing a trailer. What I do remember is being on the road at the Cincinnati Funny Bone that weekend, which I actually think is technically in Kentucky. I didn't have time to look at a map because I was telling jokes and searching searching for Will Byers, and I was so blown away by how engaging the kids were and how intriguing the story was. Cobra Kai was a much slower burn for me. I was never the biggest Karate Kid fan, but I never took issue with it either. My friends kept telling me that this new show was right up my alley, but it wasn't until I saw an image of adult, present-day Johnny Lawrence from season 1 wearing a Van Halen shirt. That was the icebreaker for me, and it's been love ever since. Both shows are now appointment television for this guy, along the lines of recent hits like Ozark, Insecure, Better Call Saul, Atlanta, and any live sporting contest. And since social media left me in a virtual deadlock, Twitter said Stranger Things, Instagram said Cobra Kai, and Facebook said I could lose 30 pounds in 2 weeks. It's all on my shoulders.
Some things never change.
And while Cobra Kai has been able to continually impress me with new wrinkles in its storyline for both the kids and adults, Stranger Things has yet to live up to the promise of season 1. I thought season 3 was a solid rebound from a lackluster sophomore effort, but it still feels like some magic is lacking. So while I have the confidence that the series will close out with a mighty bang, for now, I have to side with those strip mall karate dojos not far from where Molly the Wonder Dog and I currently live. Cobra Kai wins the round, and thus earns another underdog victory by taking the match.
Winner!
There may be Cobra Kai fans cheering from the rafters, but all I hear right now are the boos raining down from all you Stranger Things loyalists, so remember, no mercy. I'm sorry, that was somebody else talking. I'm just saying we're doing this for fun. It's my opinion, and it's bound to change after we see the next voyage of Cobra Kai or the farewell tour of Stranger Things. Both shows deserve to be appreciated for the outliers that they are. The perfect blend of nostalgic fondness and original storytelling with a dash of humor and a pinch of drama. Top it off with a few delicious member berries, and you got yourself a good night of streaming ahead. Now it's your turn. Did you vote in my social media polls? Wait, what? You're not even following me? I do put out the bad signal from time to time, so hit that follow button for @MarkEllisLive. And again, whatever I say, do not buy a PS5 from me. Keep it right here at Rotten Tomatoes for all the latest and greatest in the world of movies, TV, Cobras, and things. Thanks for watching this edition of Versus. Until next time, I'm Mark Ellis saying Lego my ego, and I'll sweep your leg.